When I was driving home, I got a call from Liz, who is one of my favorite girls at Buffalo as well. And she had got all the nurses in the room and they just screamed out, "You're pregnant." And I was just in disbelief. I was like, what? It was such a moment, and it was so special to me that the girls in Buffalo did that, just the excitement they showed, because I just didn't believe it was going to happen. I honestly don't think it would have happened if it wasn't for them. I always got kind of brought up that, you get your finances in order, you get in a good place in life, and then you have kids. And so I was in my late 30s and my partner at the time, and we kind of said, okay, let's have a baby. Everybody in my family is very fertile, gets pregnant really quickly. So I didn't think it was going to be a problem that I was, 37 or 36 at the time. And I didn't think I was going to struggle. I thought I was going to be pregnant within months. It's going to be really easy and no big deal. Obviously, that wasn't the case. It took a while to get pregnant, and we had a few losses, and we kind of went into the fertility world. We first went to a Canadian clinic who kind of immediately told me, you're old. I was 37. They blamed my miscarriages on my age, even though they all kind of happened at the exact same time. I had come to them with, could it be a blood clotting? Could it be this? Could it be this? And they kind of said, nope, it's just your age. It is what it is. Having recurrent pregnancy loss, it was a really dark place. I always found you almost feel like when you're dealing with infertility, you're kind of frozen in time, and you see people around you getting pregnant. I had some friends were on their second or third baby, and I was still in the exact same place. So it can be really, really difficult. And I just kind of held out hope that my baby was coming, and I just had to kind of keep the faith and not stress about how long it was going to take. I was going to get there. Near the end, I kind of lost hope. But that's kind of what held it on. I tried to picture my baby, and I was going to get her or him, and it was all going to be worth it. And that's when a friend told me about CNY. And it was kind of daunting at the beginning, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go to the States. I have to figure out, how to order medicine in the States and how to do all these different things. And as soon as I got to Buffalo, it was just everything kind of went away. Everybody was so sweet and so understanding, and they helped me with everything. I told them my story, and the first thing they said to me was, honey, it's not just your age. There's something going on here, and we're going to figure out what it is, and we're going to get you your baby. The fertility offices I've been to in Canada, they're just so sterile and medicine, whereas this one had a fireplace and cozy couches and almost kind of felt like a lodge. And I was like, this is a nice vibe, because I was like, you're already so exhausted from being in doctor's offices. It's comfortable to step in something where you almost feel like you're in a house or something. Dr. Chang basically looked at my protocol and completely revamped it. And I kind of went to a higher dose. And then my last 3 rounds, every single one got more eggs, more mature eggs, more eggs fertilized, and more embryos. We ended up going from the first round to have 1 embryo to our 4th retrieval have 15 eggs, and then ended up with 11 embryos, which it was insane to me. I was crying because I was like, my last retrieval was kind of like a normal round. And for somebody who at that point was 40 in diminished ovarian reserve, to have such results, I could never have imagined. And so when we started Dr. Chang, he mentioned kind of doing this kind of stacking. I'm probably not using the right terminology, but basically doing retrieval, but boom, 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 and just doing them right after another. Because he explained that, a lot of the times your body kind of gets in like the zone for it, and you can kind of see better results as the rounds go on, which was very true for me, because literally every single one was better in every respect. So I had, by this point, it had been my 7th frozen embryo transfer. I had done, 2 in Canada and 5 in the States. And, I felt like I was going through the motions. I am not a home pregnancy test person. I know a lot of people do. I'm too afraid because I was so used to negatives. I'm just too afraid to see it. So I waited for beta, but I just didn't think it was going to work. So I got to the office in tears. Michelle, said, this is going to be the one, don't worry about it. And I was like, whatever. And I found out later that she had a little Post-it note and she put a bunch of positives and hearts on it, which she gave me. But I was almost at home. My drive's about 2.5 hours, and I get a call, which I'm fully expecting Liz to tell me, okay, Marianne, it didn't work again. Here's our next steps. And all I heard was all the girls screaming, "You're pregnant." And I still couldn't believe it. I was just like, what? You want to try it? Do you want to try it? Oh, la la la. Is it yummy?
Oh. She wants more.
Yeah, girl, same. So we had a bit of a scare near the end, where my placenta essentially stopped kind of working, and so we had to induce slightly earlier. So she was induced at 37 weeks. But the labor was super easy, so I'm not even going to complain about that. But when she came, it was just this disbelief when she was put on my chest, that it was like, I've waited 6 years for you, and here you are, my perfect, sweet little baby, who, my clinic in Canada basically said was never going to happen. And so, at 41, here's my beautiful, beautiful girl. It was a moment I'll never be able to put into words, but it was just perfection. Oh my gosh, it's all worth it. I ended up doing, in total between my Canadian clinic and CNY, it was 5 egg retrievals, 7 frozen embryo transfers, 2 IUIs, and I did surgery to remove endometriosis. So it was 6 years, a ton of money, and everything is worth it to have this little girl. She is absolutely my miracle, and I would do it again 1,000 times over if it meant getting her again. I honestly don't think it would have happened if it wasn't for them. Dr. Chang for changing the protocol, for being the best darn egg retrieval guy in the world. The girls just for always lifting me up, everything they recommended. They were so open to thinking outside the box. I think that is what they did. And I was a difficult case, and they tried different things, and we figured out what worked, and she stuck. And honestly, they're my angels on earth.